announced with the opportunity for a Hollywood finish will take the 250.
Phoenix, there they go, down to the bottom, 4 or 5 wide. Let's see if they can all keep it together. But Jacob Arnold.
Remember last year when they ran the Weenie 500, they streamed it on YouTube, on their YouTube channel? They're bringing it to TV this year.
Good evening, everyone. This is John Miles, your host for the Bottom Split Racing Series, and today we have, as you can see, the fastest short track on the planet, Iowa Speedway, for the Round 7 at Iowa Speedway, presented by Showtime Esports Manager. Should be a really fun race for all of us here in the booth. These ARCA cars tend to be a little loose on exit, especially. Watch those rough corner exits on turns 2 especially. Turn 4 a little bit more manageable, but as you can see with the timer ticking down, we have qualifying coming up before the rest of the race. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is the track info here for Iowa Speedway, located in Newton, Iowa. Opened in 2006, less than a mile track, definitely a short track to say the least. 14 degrees of bankings in turns 1 and 2 with 4 degrees on the backstretch. Super quick. We just wrapped up our 20-minute practice. 5-minute qualification is going on right now before a 55-lap race. Important number there, 55. You can make it on fuel, but expect those tires to be begging for mercy because 55 laps is a lot of laps on this short track. Something very unique, as you'll see whenever we pan around the track eventually, is that the track itself recently had a repave less than 2 years ago, which added a new surface on the bottoms of turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Whenever we're racing on track, it'll be easy to point out. It's a lot darker of a track surface. There's a great angle coming up 4. You can see that 2 different lines. You can see that newer track compound that's been put down compared to the old asphalt. Traditionally here at Iowa, before that repave happened, kind of ripping the fence was your best way around, so they added this slightly new repave to the bottom of the track to make both lines competitive. So we'll have to see throughout the race how drivers manage their tires, but also manage the racing line in this multi-grooved racing short track. Some important notes to mention. Garrett, as we take a quick look at the driver standings, I think that was Jarnagin that just flashed by us. He is currently in the lead with 221. Jax Malin 188, Scott Rolls 185, Rohan James 184. In your top 5 is a tie between DJ Fluck and Jacob Barker. Important note, Garrett has built a large enough lead over Jax, so unless Garrett really flames out or misses one of the last 2 events, he is on pace to clinch after tonight. He can do so with a win. It is statistically possible for him to clinch. He would need to be 45 points up at the end of the race or 44 points and get the pole, and then just start the race at Charlotte and wins it. If he wins at Iowa, he clinches all the bonus points, and Jax finishes worse than second and no bonus points. Garrett also clinches. Garrett needs a 12 points over Jax for this week's race results to clinch overall. So pretty much, long story short, Jarnagin in the 32 needs to finish the bottom half of the field, while Jax Malin needs to win for pretty much 2 weeks in a row. Hard to do, not impossible, but with how consistent we've seen that 32 car be, it's going to be a very uphill battle for that 24 car or any of the cars behind Jackson points. Every point is a position, it's important to note, so just imagine just all those added positions that do add up over time. About 2 minutes left in our qualifying session as we take a quick look to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at that vertical ticker to see what the drivers line up. Right now, looks like Chris Fuge has the pole in the 42 car. Just making one of his one-off starts for this race, last season's champion. Glad to have him back doing these part-time starts to kind of just get a feel for where the competition is out in these lower series. Important to note there where is he? In the 14 there, new guy for this week. It is John Corey in the number 14. New to this league, welcome. Glad to have you in the 14 car, affiliate of Smoky Mountain's team, as he is joining Chris Fuge's cousin's son. I believe I have that right. So a lot of Fuge relatives in the league. Welcome. If anyone's watching at home, welcome. Glad to have you. Continue to build this iRacing league and flesh out our roster. About a minute left here in qualifying. You can see not a lot of driver change going on. You can see I accidentally registered as a driver, so there's my name there in the 54, but it'll disappear once we get rolling. JP Jones in the 21 doesn't appear to have qualified yet either, but for the rest of it, we should be going green here pretty soon. Not too much longer. Like I said, this was race 7 of 8 in the Bottom Split Racing Series. With that being said, you can see there we only have one more race to go in 2 weeks at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the capital of NASCAR, on May 18th. You may hear my voice for the finale, but more than likely you'll have a fill-in broadcaster for that one. Keep your ears tuned for an announcement of that. It might be Trevor, who, if anyone's been watching for a long time, he used to do the Wednesday Night Dash side of things. I believe 4 seasons ago, maybe 4 or 5 seasons ago, but keep an eye out. He should be taking that over that one, as that is a day after I graduate, and I'll probably be moving stuff around. So appreciate him for stepping up into that position to get that done. And with that being said, the drivers are going to start gridding now, so we'll go ahead and take a look at all of them. Starting with Christopher Fuge in the number 2 car. We'll see if we can't grab him really quick for an interview. If he's anywhere to be found, he is not. He's not in the Discord, so unfortunately we won't be able to grab him, but we're actually going to grab the 88 of DJ Fluck and see if he wants to talk. DJ, this is John Miles in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, man. What's up?
Starting a little bit later in the field, start 6th place, but as we've come to know, you've gotten really, really good at tire saving. With Iowa being one of those tracks that can just eat up your tires, what's the goal by the time we get the checkered flag?
That's the goal. You know, I'm watching everybody start to kind of run away with it during qualifying, and I wasn't really pushing that hard. You know, we'll just keep an eye on the front guys, and you know, if they start to pull away a little bit, you know, we'll worry about chasing them down at the end.
Well, good luck out there. I know you got a fast, long-run car typically most weekends. Hope to see you at the broadcast booth at the end of this.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
And that was the 88 of DJ Fluck. He will be starting 6th place, but as we've seen in a lot of these races, he tends to find a way towards the front of the field, especially on these more aggressive tire wear types of tracks. So Iowa Speedway, it's one of those tracks, can be, as I mentioned earlier, very, very unforgiving. You think you have more speed in the car than you actually do, especially at the start of a run. You can hit those higher speeds, making it the world's fastest short track on the planet. So they say. But with that, it tends to be a lot of tire wear as well that comes with it. So just managing those runs, managing those tires, we'll have to see how they do. It's important to note, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome once again. But also, with this being the new and improved ARCA cars to the iRacing platform, beforehand they used to run very, very tight. And now instead we kind of have a looser driving ARCA car, more similar to how they drive in real life. So expect the right rear to be skating on thin ice, especially on the exit of 2. You have a lot of real estate, a lot of open track to do it off of turn 4, so we might not see quite the same amount of skidding as we do coming out of turn 2. Definitely something to keep an eye out, as I'm sure lap traffic will also be in effect with this short track as well. But enough talking. The pace car will be rolling off this time by, never mind, he's going to do one more victory lap. Lights are off this time, so we should be going this next time by. A little bit of a delayed start. Like I mentioned previously, we shouldn't have to stop for fuel as per all of the bottom split racing series. Heard some rumblings of some drivers maybe trying to split this thing like in a quarter almost. Race the first 15 to 20 laps and then pit just for fresher tires to see if they can make up that difference. I advise against that strategy because with how long pit road is and how short the track is, you'll go several laps down, it might be hard to make up. And this time the pace car will roll off as you see him take a hard left into pit road. In the Geico restart zone, drivers are fired off, green flag at Iowa. Great jump there on the outside by Garrett Jarnagin. See if he can wrap that top lane. Already Jack's Mail side by side with the 42. Clear Garrett Jarnagin for the lead for the time being. 24 still tight on the right rear quarter panel of the 42, not allowing him to drift up the track whatsoever. Cutting off the exit of that low car is a great way to try to make that move as he dives to the inside of the 24, that is, and makes a pass for second place. Wasting no time whatsoever as he takes a dive already to the inside of the 32. It's a little loose there. As you can see, the 42 starts to build a run. Little checkup there. Might have been some contact, not entirely sure. 24 back to the bottom. As the 42's now side by side in the wall a little. You see that smoke come up there. I'm not sure how much damage that caused to the 42. Could just be cosmetic, but seemed to hit it pretty square, but creeping on the inside quarter panel, but the 42 does get clear for the time being, but these drivers have to get back on the 24, then taps the wall a little bit farther back to 25, has tapped it as well. Now he's side by side with a newcomer in the 14. Boy, makes a great lunge there. Great slide job, does clear for that farther back. DJ Fluck is still in 6th, maintaining for the time being, but you can see just trying to rally and see what he can get out of this car. Wait for that long run to come to you. Still a close battle here between 1st and 2nd. About 2/10 separates them. You have to wonder how much their tires have already. Just 6 laps into the 55-lap race. If you're in the 24 right now, when there is no cautions, what you want to see these guys, what you want to see as a 24 is the 42 and the 32 race each other as hard as possible so they burn each other's tires up, as well as potentially take each other out of the race. Side by side with the 32. You have to imagine there's a lot of respect between these two guys as they are teammates both in the bottom split racing series as well as full-time on the Wednesday side of things. The 42 pulls a slide job right in front of the 32. Move gets huge to the P1 spot. As already, what you can see right ahead of you, lap traffic is already starting to play an effect. And I believe that is the 13 of Eric Richardson. Right now, a big battle. If we go a little bit farther back between DJ Fluck and JP Jones. As they're side by side right now, we'll have to see JP's having to come out of the gas, maybe just a little. Either giving him plenty of room to pass the race complete, move the 88 up, back into 6th place. Back towards the front, the 42 is starting to check out. You can see he's moved to that bottom lane. You'd have to imagine he's trying to save as much tire as possible. Clean air is king. I do believe we might encounter lap traffic, as you can see. besides Eric Richardson, who might have had a little slip up. His car spinning to the inside. I believe that was the 13. Let's see if we can get a quick replay on that. It was the 13. It might have just been a... Yep. As I mentioned, super tough getting off turn 2. Rear end just came out on him. Not a whole lot he can do as he's reset back to the pits. We have a little bit of a scoring issue going on right now. We'll see if we can get that fixed. There we go. Chris Fuchs continues to pull away as we're 12 laps into this race. Both second, third, and fourth are right on top of each other. As you can see, not a whole lot separates those cars. You have to imagine that they are starting to save a little bit of tires. Not pushing it too hard right now. Garrett Jarnagin is statistically very good at this type of racing when it comes to saving tires. He has won a couple of them by doing just that and came very close at Bristol last season in the ARCA Series. Not to brag, but he finished second to yours truly. But, I mean, he cut the lead by about, like, dang near half a second a lap there for the last 5 laps. So, when it comes to tire saving, getting the most out of your car on a short track, there aren't many people better than him when it comes to the ARCA cars. As right now we take a look at that 32 car, the gap is still about 7/10. Keep an eye on that timing pylon there. As you can see, it's starting to shrink again. Still looks like that clean air is helping Chris Fuchs quite a bit. Looks like they got it cleared and figured out the 24 secures his spot back in front of the 14. But that little skirmish, just those two battling, has opened up a huge gap of about 8/10 before the next group of cars. Before the next car, that being Garrett Jarnagin. Go ahead and take this time to quickly shout out Garage Talk. Join FR Racing's DJ Fluck and Eric Richardson for an all-new episode of FR Racing Garage Talk. On this week's episode, they open the show with a tribute to Bob Kenboyan of the Bob and Tom Show, who passed away recently after a 3-year battle with cancer. Bob was a radio legend and a huge inspiration for Eric and DJ growing up. In addition, they go over Carson Hocefar's breakthrough win at Talladega, Indy 500 month preview, and some drama in the iRacing League world. Subscribe to FR Racing's Garage Talk wherever you download your favorite podcasts. The gap has increased, it looks like, by about 1 second from Chris Fuchs over to Garrett Jarnagin. At this rate, it won't be till about, I want to say, lap 45 to lap 50, maybe with 5 to go, if he'll catch lap traffic at the rate he's running right now. It's important to note, though, tire fall off, it's not linear, it's more exponential, so tires, when they start to fall, they go quicker and faster the more laps you run. It's not necessarily an easy straight line to follow when it comes to falling off, so we might see more dramatic fall off and quicker laps, but expect the first lap traffic to appear about anywhere between lap 40 to lap 50 at the current pace they're running. As a little bit farther back, we have right now pretty good battle for that third position. As you can see, 24 gets sideways, gathers it up, doesn't wreck the car, and slides it in front of the 25. Not sure the 25 appreciated that necessarily, but not entirely sure what happened there between those two cars. Let's see if we can figure out what happened between the 14 and 24. just got loose. Nobody's fault, just getting loose off the corner exit. As the 24 has already made his way back up to the 14. Incredible run. Not quite sure he was able to make up that much time, but you have to imagine he got those tires pretty hot. So now he's got to do quite a bit of work to get ahead of the 14 car and then get back up towards those leaders. As right now, Chris Fuge continues to drive away with this thing. Almost to 2 seconds right now, the gap, and continuing to climb. Not quite sure when we're going to see that tire fall off start to happen. It's very possible Chris Fuge is saving already. But right now, continues to grow that lead. Let's take a quick look at the Indy Racing World Series schedule. Heading to Indianapolis here pretty soon. Got a little bit of time, got a little off week before we head to Indianapolis. About a week and a day. Expect that to be a jam-packed event with a lot of drivers from all three of the series coming to take their time at the league. Indianapolis, fan favorite, kind of a replica of the Indy 500. I believe it's 80 laps, so a lot of racing, to say the least. A lot of strategy. Normally a really good broadcast and a whole lot of fun to participate and watch. So make sure to tune into that on May 12th. Should be a good time. Taking a look too at our Wednesday night dash schedule. Heading to Texas on Wednesday, on May 6th. I will be back in the broadcast booth. I thought I was retired, thought I was done after the first two, but turns out I will be back in the booth for Texas. Like I said, we hope to have Jackson back as soon as he can, but it'll be my voice once again for the Texas race. Should be a lot of fun as Texas puts on some pretty solid racing. Very unforgiving track, typically one-dimensional. One solid lane to run, 1.5 lanes potentially to run at that track, but at the end of the day, they get you out of the groove, and that's when those giant runs come at almost full throttle, especially rounds 3 and 4, typically full throttle with 1 and 2 barely coming out of the gas. So took a lot of good racing speed at the Texas 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway. We still haven't seen, there's a little bit of a shrinkage in the gap right there, as you can see. We're starting to see that tire work come in, as at one point Chris Fuge had a 1.9 lead, but you can see that lead is now starting to drop as he has it down now to 1.5 seconds and dropping. So see those tires are starting to show their age. We'll have to see if the 42 starts to adjust his line. I have to imagine he is running the bottom of the track. I'll have to watch him this next time by to see how he's doing. A little wider entry, but he is wrapping the bottom of the track. But it's important to note both the 32 and the 24 went to that bottom lane a little bit earlier, but then the 42. So they might have a little bit better tire wear. As you can see, he's a little, about 2 lanes off right there. Jarnagin is as well. They can see that gap right now. Battle behind us as the 24 tries to take back the 3rd position on the 14. Slides right in front of him and gets the pass done. Got a little contact. Move 24 back up to 3rd, but a 2.4 second gap before he even sniffs Garrett Jarnagin right now. A lot can happen, especially if the 32 and the 42 get racing pretty hard, as the 32 continues to lap off times. My pylon's telling me about half a tenth to a tenth faster every lap so far. See how much the next 20 laps that both the 32, the 24, and the 42 have. How much did they save? There is that little mistake by the 24 coming out of the exit 4 early in the race, going to scuff up his tires just enough to not even have a chance at this thing later in the run. Back out front, Chris Fuge must have found something because he maintained the last lap. This lap it looks like he's a little slower, but the last lap he did maintain. Could have been a mistake by the 32 as well, but important to note that one mistake can be very costly, especially with how loose this track continues to drive, even on old cars. Makes it very unique in that sense, whereas most tracks they tend to tighten up your race car the longer you get into the race. But this track has similarities almost to Darlington if it's a little bit wider, in the sense it's a rougher surface, especially if you get outside that newly paved surface. Can kind of grip the right rear tire in ways that you necessarily wouldn't expect. As Chris Fuge has started to check out once again, as he has raised that gap back to 1.7 seconds. Great battle still for his third position as the 14 tries to make another move on the 24. A little pump fake there you saw out of the 24 as he's a little bit out of the racing surface. Those right side tires out of the racing groove, but gets the run off the top lane. What used to be the most preferred lane around this place back before that repave, but as you can see, that newer track surface is just a little bit faster. This battle between the 24 and the 14, though, has brought the 25 right into the picture. We'll have to see how well he can hang on as the 24 gets a little loose, which allows the 24 to pull away a little and the 25 to sneak right up on the back bumper of the 14, but right now it appears these guys are kind of trading blows in the spots that one might be faster than the other. It seems like the 24 gets a better run out of turn 3 and 4, but 14 is a solid amount faster right now out of turn 1 and 2. As they're side by side, going to be side by side entering turn 1. 14 runs the 24 up the track a little on entrance in the corner. As the 24 gets into the wall, this is going to allow the 25 to maybe have a move on him. 24 already back to the inside of the 14. I'm sure he didn't appreciate that super turn entrance into turn 1 and 2. We'll have to see if there might be any payback coming into it. He's right on the back bumper of the 14. Even if you don't make contact, being that close to somebody's rear end can absolutely upset the back end of your car by eliminating downforce off your rear spoiler. But also, it's not just the aerodynamics that are affected, but also a little bit of mind games to play as well. As you're looking in the rear view mirror more than you're looking forward, you might end up missing your turn-in spot that you're used to, or your brake marker, or whatever it might be. Very aggressive dive there from the 24. You can see he is faster, it seems, in 3 and 4, but doesn't quite have to stay in 2 to make a pass. Let's see if we see any sort of dive bomb here. He is right on the back bumper there of the 14. Might have been a little shot there. Said mind games to say the least. These two continue to battle it out. They're going to be on the corner panel right now. They're going to be side by side going into the corner as 25 behind them is back in the wall. 24 left on the lane there. Got a little loose on exit. As you can see, that transition, the 24 got loose there because that transition between the new track surface to the old track surface didn't quite have the grip that he's used to having, and that caused him to get a little loose on exit. Now he's got to work his way back to the back bumper of the 14. Does appear to have a little bit better pace when you're running that preferred line, but right now the 14's playing pretty solid defense. Big move right there. These guys look like they're trading blows right on each other's bumper. A lot better exit that time out of the 24. It's going to be pretty close. It seems the 24 is diving in a lot deeper on entrance. And still getting that drive off. It's going to be side by side at the line. We'll have to see. That time he runs him up the track. We'll have to see if he can get him cleared, and he does get him cleared. Move the 24 back into the front as the 14 gives him a shot. Probably didn't appreciate the slide job, but that's just short track racing. As you can imagine, the 14 probably not the happiest customer right now. Let's see if he can get back to the race. You can see there is lap traffic right in front of him. We'll have to see how much that lap traffic plays effect, and see if the 14 can use it as a pick almost. Starting to check out once again. Like I said, we'll have to see how well he gets by this lap traffic. Lap traffic is in that preferred racing groove. Let's see, cuts low. 24 trying to switch back, trying to see if he can dive underneath the 87. He does get clear. Back towards Garrett Jarnagin. 1.4 seconds. We saw this story a little bit earlier, but there are 5 laps to go. We'll see if he can cut that. He's going to need about 2/10 a lap. We'll have to see if he can get it done. As you can see, that right rear is squealing. Definitely trying to see what he has left in the tank here while Chris Fuge just hangs on to it. Jarnagin, if we finish where we are right now, Jarnagin is going to finish 1 point better than Jax just based off the individual results from tonight's race. So Jax would once again have to win next week, as well as Jarnagin finish 1 position worse, which, depending on how many cars show up, it just might not be enough cars. You'd have to have maybe 12 or 13 points. So as they sit right now, might be all she wrote if we finish how we are right now. Important note, the winner gets 5 more points than second place, which is why Jax would have to win. Jax, being in the 24 car, would have to win both of the races to be in contention for this. Whereas these 1 or 2 points is just not going to be enough to matter at the end. White flag is out. As we watch Chris Fuge with a 1.5 second lead. Got shuffled back from the pole position a little bit earlier in the race. The last year's champion is going to return back to the top spot as Chris Fuge in the 42 wins at Iowa Speedway. Garrett Jarnagin finishing the race behind him. Jax Mill P3. John Corey in his debut finishing P4. Rohan James P5. DJ Fluck finishing P6. Great race for these guys. We try to watch burnout here by the 42. As he burns it down throughout the infield. Looks like the 32's taking some victory laps as well. As both the 42 and the 32 burn it down and park it on the start-finish line. We'll take one more look at those driver finishing positions as we take a look at those results. Chris Fuge finishing in P1 position, Garrett Jarnagin second, Jax Malin 24 and third, John Corey in his debut finishing fourth, Rohan James fifth, DJ Flux sixth, JP Jones in the 21 finishing 7th, John Jarvis finishing 8th, Connor Fuge in the Ford Mustang finishing 9th, and Eric Richardson wrapping out your top 10. We are joined now by 2 of the top 3. I can speak. I know the third place guy isn't showing up. He's having mic issues and he doesn't feel like calling in on his phone. So, perks of having a easy to work with driver, I guess. But with that, we're going to go ahead and take it to the P2 position of Garrett Jarnagin. Garrett, great race for you. Did what you needed to do. Pretty much now all you have to do is show up in 2 weeks and you have won the championship. Literally the only one you can't win this thing is if you don't show up. So if you want to hand it to Jax, I guess don't show up. But otherwise, congrats. I guess it's an early congrats on the championship. We'll give you a little bit more of a speech whenever that rolls around next week. But we're going to go ahead and just talk about today's race for the time being and hope to talk more about the championship in 2 weeks. But for now, breaking down at Iowa, did you expect to see the tire wear you did, or was it manageable? Tell me about the different racing surfaces, especially in the corners compared to on the straights.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really have any time to put any laps in before joining the session tonight, so that 10 minutes before was about the only laps I got to run. Tried to run the top a little bit. It was fun, but wasn't very comfortable up there, and didn't really get comfortable until about halfway through the race. By that time, he was gone. He had his corn on the cob and he was gone. So, but no, it was fun.
We're in a tight points battle where pretty much I'd have to imagine your goal for both this race and next race would be kind of just survive to make sure you don't finish somewhere in the top 3 and you should solidify yourself for the championship. At any point during this race, were you counting the points or was it kind of just checked out and in your own world?
No, had a long weekend. Didn't really look into much. I just came out here to race.
Came out here to race and got it done, did what you needed to do to secure yourself a championship. Is anyone you'd like to thank before you give it to the leader?
Oh yeah, just the SMR boys and broadcast team and everybody involved.
And with that, one of the SMR boys, last season's champion, driving the number 42 car today, Chris Fuge. Chris, an absolute masterclass of a race. You lost the lead there for a little bit, but didn't take long for you to get it back and find your groove. There's a time there where the 32 was gaining on you, but you seemed to find something that worked because you pulled away once again. Tell me about your race. What was the mindset going into it? Was any part of you worried when your teammate behind you started catching, or you kind of had this thing in the bag from the start?
Yeah, I love Iowa. Definitely one of like my top 5 tracks. So my first non-super speedway league win came at Iowa in the ARCA car. Funny enough, so I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on it. I spent a lot of time over the weekend running laps. SMR. We have a little competition going on where we try to beat each other's lap times, and right now Chad Winstead's got that lap time record here at Iowa in the ARCA car. So I spent all weekend trying to beat that and just figuring out small things about the track, and qualified on the pole. At the start of the race, yeah, I lost 2 spots to Garrett and Jax, but I knew in the back of my mind, Iowa's one of those tracks where you can't push hard at the start. Those cold tires on this track, just especially transitioning from old asphalt to new asphalt back to old asphalt, the tires don't like it. So once I had a couple laps under it where the car really settled and the tires warmed up, I knew I could push more. Was a little worried about Garrett catching me there at the end. We were kind of joking back and forth. He was like, "Oh, did you just slow down?" And I was like, "No, I don't feel like it." And then I looked and saw him catching me. So I was like, "All right, well, let's see what I can do about that." And just pushed the corner entry a little harder. Made sure I got to the bottom and kept those tires as intact as I could. Real interested to see tire wear when I get out of here. But no, I love Iowa. It's a fun track.
Whenever you and I were racing way back in the day, it feels like forever ago, but last season in these ARCA cars, they tended to drive a little bit more tight, whereas now with the recent updates are more in line with the real ARCA cars, driving a little bit more loose off the right rear. Did that play more into your favor with a track like Iowa tonight, or is it still something you're kind of adjusting to?
I would think so. I love a free race car. If I can get it to the weight to shift in the corner and let me drive off on that right rear on corner exit, I love it. So anytime I can get that, I'm not going to complain. These new ARCA car models are awesome. The new update they did, it makes it feel a lot better. A tight race car just doesn't feel good anywhere. So These loose cars. I mean, as long as it's not too loose. If it's too loose and I can't, if it's too loose and I can't drive it, I'm not having fun. But a loose, slidey race car is always fun.
Right. These ARCA cars, 4-speed manuals, but tonight the 42 car was automatic from start to finish. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before you end the broadcast?
Yeah, you up there in the booth, DJ and Eric for giving me a place to race on Monday nights. Spartan Sim Racing Graphics, Outlier Speed Co. SMR just recently signed a deal with those guys. They're the exclusive setup shop for SMR. Use code. I'm not sure. I don't remember my code right now. I think it's ChrisFuge50 or use code ChrisFuge50. I think for maybe 10% off. I think we're still ironing out the details, but yeah, Outlier Speed Co. I know it's a fixed setup race, but they do a lot of stuff on the outside for us in our Monday Night League. It's open setups. I want to thank Hands On, Children's Museum, Moza Racing for giving me this. I have this awesome setup that I love. And the SMR guys, like I said, a little bit of healthy competition always helps. And when we're trying to beat each other's lap times, you learn things about these cars and these tracks that you just didn't know before.
Healthy competition to say the least, and you will see that healthy competition racing against each other once again this Wednesday at Texas. But for Bottom Split Racing Series, catch us here in 2 weeks. With that, this has been John Miles at Iowa Speedway. You all have a good rest of your night.